As somebody who spent a lot of time reading productivity books, reading a bunch of Medium articles, and watching a bunch of YouTube videos on how to be a more productive human being, I found that three techniques have actually helped me be productive immediately, where I was able to see tangible results within the first few uses of the technique. And I want to start by listing the three techniques. So first one is the Pomodoro technique, second one is time blocking, and the third one is a secret. And I'm going to share that one at the very end, so stay tuned if you want to find out what the third one is. So the first technique is a Pomodoro technique, and the reason I like it so much is because it lets you chunk up the work that you're doing into short time frames where you'll spend 25 minutes working on the task and then take 5 minutes to step away from whatever that thing was and regroup and basically just recompose yourself. And the reason I like the 25-minute mark is because it's just enough time for you to be effective and get something done, as well as just enough time for you to step away right when you're about to get bored or right when you're about to be basically in the state where you're no longer going to be productive anyway. And then the 5 minutes of break time lets you regroup and then lets you come back with a more fresh mind and gives you a better chance of coming back stronger and better than before. So the quickest way to implement this is to start working in chunks of 25 minutes as well as 5 minutes break. So let's say you have a to-do list of 10 things. You'll start by working on the first thing for 25 minutes. After those 25 minutes are up, you take 5 minutes where you step away from whatever it is you're doing and you make sure you're completely away from the keyboard. You're outside going for a walk. You go walk the dog. You go drink some water. You go to the restroom. You do whatever it is you need to do as long as it's not work. And after the 5 minutes is up, you come back and you rinse and repeat about 2-3 times. After the third time, what you want to do is you want to take a slightly longer break, maybe 15 minutes, maybe 30 minutes, depending on what you're trying to accomplish, whether you have more things to do on your list or not. And that's it. That's why I love it so much. It's so simple. You can download a few apps for this. You can just use a straight up timer if you really wanted to. And it's something you can pick up right away. And once you start working in chunks and increments of 25 minutes with a 5 minute break, you'll find that you're getting more things done and you have more stamina by the end of it because you're taking the 5 minutes every 25 minutes to regroup and double check that you're mentally safe and that you're able to progress without getting past the point of diminishing returns where you spend so much time working on something that you're not even conscious as to what you're doing anymore. The 5 minutes lets you disconnect and come back with a vengeance. Productivity technique number 2, time blocking. So time blocking is where you take a specific amount of time where you're going to work on a task or try to achieve a goal with the expectation and the intent of working on the goal, working towards the goal without the expectation that you're going to get to that goal within that block of time. Now, that may have sounded confusing, but let me explain. So let's say you're trying to finish a book in 2 hours and you find out that at hour 1 minute 40 that you're not going to finish the book within the 2 hours. Your goal was to finish the book, but within the time block that you allotted yourself, the 2 hours, if you don't finish the book, then you know that you just need to carry that over for your next time block of reading. And that's exactly what the power is of this technique. You take this step by step and you allocate chunks of time as opposed to trying to fit in your schedule 15-minute increments, 30-minute increments. Usually you want to do these in 1.5 hour to 3 hour increments because after about 3 hours of work, you're probably going to be fried working on the same task over and over again. So you don't allocate that much time to it, but you know that you're trying to make progress towards your goal. You don't intend to accomplish your goal right away, but you intend to work on your goal. And that's the power of time blocking. So the last productivity technique, the one that I was keeping the secret, is probably going to be the most simple productivity technique that I've ever come across. And when I read these books, I read these articles, and they all kind of said the same thing, I was surprised at how powerful this technique was. As in, I didn't really believe that it was going to help me achieve what I wanted to achieve. But once I started implementing it in my day-to-day life, I realized how much this technique was helping. So what the technique is turning your phone off. Often, you'll probably overlook this, as somebody who spends a lot of time online, probably checking Instagram, social media, doing whatever it is that you do on your phone, you're probably picking your phone up several times an hour. And when you pick up your phone and you try to switch tasks, meaning if you're working on something and you stop to check your phone, that context switch where you're working on one thing going to the other can be mentally expensive. So when you turn your phone off, you know that you're not going to get any notifications, that whatever notifications you're going to get are going to come anyway, and that at the end of however long your workday is, you'll be able to check in, stuff is not going to have burned down, that you have this almost clarity to your work and productivity where you're able to get more things done because now you have an incentive too, where at the end of the day, you're able to check your phone and know that not only were you able to finish all the things that you needed to finish, but you have the satisfaction of checking your phone and still being able to keep up with whatever it is you're trying to keep up with. But you know at the end of the day that you were productive because you turned your phone off. And kind of a way I realized that I picked up my phone a lot was, believe it was in one of the iOS updates where Apple introduced the time activity. Basically, it's in the settings. And once I saw that I was picking up my phone over 100 times a day, I almost freaked out. I was not sure that that number was right. And then I thought about it. And then the next day, what I did was I kind of counted mentally how many times I did take my phone out of my pocket to check it, even if it was just for the time, even if it was to respond to a message. And that number was surprisingly accurate. And once I saw that the more that I brought my phone out, the less productive I was, I knew that if I could reduce the number of times I brought my phone out during a workday, then the more productive I would be. And that happened to be the case. Once I started turning my phone off at the beginning of the workday and turning the phone on only during my breaks, I realized I was more productive. So by reducing the amount of times I had access to my phone, or reducing the amount of access to my phone, I was able to increase my productivity. So if you combine all three of these productivity techniques, you're going to be a productivity machine. And these are three simple ways that you can start increasing your productivity today. And notice that I said simple, not easy. These may seem like common sense, and that's because that's as simple as it is. You don't need to do anything fancy. All you really need to do is try a few of these things, put your phone away, check up on yourself, and you'll be golden. Thanks for watching.